Hello, everybody. Black Clover again, coming at you. How is everybody doing today? Good. I hope you're doing well. Um, Today, I want to talk to you about emotional dependency. It is horrible, guys. Emotional dependency is horrible. The message for today is do not be emotionally dependent on anyone. Okay? I'm not just talking about women. Now it is mostly on we are mostly emotionally dependent on women. It's rare that we are emotionally dependent on men, and I'm going to talk about this. But and I'm not just talking about a woman that you're dating or your girlfriend or your wife. Just emotionally dependent on any other person can cause great damage to your life, guys. And again, I'm speaking from personal experience, as I often do on my channel here. um, So, when you're emotionally dependent on someone, again, usually it is your the person you're dating, the woman you're dating. But let's talk about this. Where does this emotional dependency, that this need for emotional dependency, where does it come from? Huh? Well, it comes from, and this is talked a lot in the MGTOW circles. It is the male mother need, right? So what is that? What is a male mother need? So, all your life, as a baby, as a child, you grew up having this mother that you could always run to for anything. And if you need, you could cry on her. You could cry on her shoulders. You could be very emotionally vulnerable to your mother as a child. And it is perfectly acceptable by society. Why? Even though you're a man, it is acceptable because at that time you were a child. As a child, it is okay for you to cry to your mother. So you always had something. If you needed, and if you don't really need something to happen to you, you just need somebody to cry on, a shoulder to cry on, somebody to tell you it's going to be all right. You're going to be okay. We're going to get through this. And women can do this even as adults. They can cry to their girlfriends, to their husband, and men, we comfort the women, right? We're like, it's okay, and it's perfectly acceptable for a woman to cry, and to be very emotional and to be very needy. But for a man, it is seen as a weakness, right? As a weakness. So that is why when you grow up, when you're an adult man, you can't first, I mean, you're an adult, so you're not usually going to cry to your mom. Now, if you have any problems, you might talk to your mom about problems. But when you grow up and when you move out of your parents' house, and usually you start dating, and maybe for the blue pilled guys out there, you get a wife. Now you're a man, so you're supposed to be strong and a leader, so you can't show any emotion, because and women are disgusted by emotion. If you cry, they tell you different. They tell you they want a very emotional man, but that's bullshit. If you start crying to her, she doesn't like that. She'll be disgusted. She's not going to want to have sex with you if you're a very emotional man. And so, but society tells you that it is okay to show an emotional side, a sensitive side to your wife, to your girlfriend. So that is the one acceptable place where you can be emotional. But again, your wife or your girlfriend will be disgusted by you for being emotional. Again, in my blue pill days, I was, unfortunately, I'm sad to say, I was very emotional about every little thing. If something bad happened to me, I used to share it with my ex. I used to there were times, I don't think I cried that much about just regular stuff that happened, but I was just very, like, I would show my frustration, my sadness, and I just wanted somebody to share my feelings. And now, looking back, I can tell that she was disgusted by it. She was trying to hide it, but she's very disgusted now. So obviously, we understand that emotional dependency to your wife or your girlfriend or whatever girl you're trying to date is not a good idea, because it will backfire on you and you will lose respect. But but what about other types of emotional dependency, or for other women? Again, usually it's we are emotionally dependent on women as guys, because we don't want to be, I mean, we don't want to be emotionally dependent on another guy because that's be awkward as fuck. Unless he's like a family member or a really close best friend that we trust 100%. But we don't want to usually show our weakness, our because it is perceived as weakness. We don't want to show that to other men. So I remember with one of my managers in the past, I was and it was actually right after my ex and I broke up, so I was very vulnerable. This one of my former manager, she was very sweet, very kind, very nice to me, and because of that, at work, um, and you're not supposed to. You're supposed to be very business casual at work. You're not supposed to be very emotionally invested and show and talk too much. You want to be as silent as possible. But again, I didn't know that. I was blue pilled. So at work, I got very emotionally dependent with my former boss. She was like a work mom for me. I used to share everything with her. I was very emotional, all my emotions. I used to share all that with her, and it was not a good idea because there were times where I got in trouble for different things, and she got upset with me, and she gave me a talking to. And when that happened, it's horrible because when somebody that you love, like a mother or somebody that you're very emotionally dependent to, or is upset with you, you how do I say this? It's like a child when a mother is scolding him or upset with him. When your mom is mad at you, the person that takes care of you as a child, you start crying and you're just like, I'm sorry, mom, I'm sorry. That's the kind of this is real shit, guys. I don't think I didn't fucking cry. I got really emotional, but I never fucking cried to her. But I almost did. I was holding my emotions. I was like apologizing and fucking like I was a fucking mess, guys. I was, you don't want to be that involved, especially with your boss. I don't give a fuck if she treats you like you're her son. If she's like, just don't get involved, guys. As men, it is, and this me. I don't know if applies for a lot of other men. I get attached really easily to women. Again, this is about knowing yourself, right? Know who you are, know what kind of person you are. I get attached to women, even to men. I become really close friends with guys. I trust guys really easily, but I've noticed throughout my experiences, being emotionally dependent to a woman has a lot more adverse mental effects. It really fucks with your mind. You fall under depression. You're like, you feel so sad and horrible about upsetting that person, that woman. And now, again, men are not perfect either. You don't want to be emotionally dependent on men. But if it's a man, usually, unless they're somebody you're connected with, like your brother, your father, or your best friend, usually you're like, man, fuck that guy. Like, fuck him. Like, I don't give a fuck about him. Like, you can usually get over, another guy, a lot easier from my experiences than if you upset a woman. So when you're emotionally dependent, guys, and when that goes south, and when that woman, whoever she is, your girlfriend, your boss, just a casual friend that whoever that woman is, when you're emotionally dependent on her, and then she's upset with you over something, you're gonna have many sleepless nights, sad moments. It's gonna take you a long time to get over it. You might even fall under heavy depression. Okay, again, real shit, guys. And that can completely fuck up your life, right? Your plans. You can't think of anything else except just apologizing to that person and making that person forgive you for whatever the fuck you think she's mad at you for. It is similar to getting over your ex, really. And you forget, even though you're a MGTOW and you're on your purpose and you're working to go back to school or getting that promotion, or working on losing weight or gaining muscle, if whatever woman you're emotionally dependent on if your relationship is damaged with that woman, and she's upset with you and she's mad at you, that will put everything else you're doing on hold. Okay? So I remember when my former boss, when she was mad at me, for like 3 weeks, for 3 fucking weeks, I stopped working out. I stopped like thinking about my future plans, my goals, my because this is the person that at that time, right, the blue pilled man, I really cared about. Yeah, she's not. I wasn't dating her, but she was like a mother figure to me. At work, and when she was really mad at me, and she gave me a talking to. Now, eventually, we did make up, and she did forgive me, but for those 3 weeks, I was depressed as fuck. I was not motivated to get up and like work out and take care of myself and like do my fucking online course. I was taking online classes, college classes, and I was just thinking about making my boss just going back to how it was before she was upset with me. So emotional dependency, guys. Women are allowed, society gives permission to women to be emotionally dependent to everybody, to her family, to her friends, to her husband, and it's okay. And if you say anything, or if you judge them for being emotionally independent, or emotionally dependent, then you are a misogynist. You're a woman hater. Okay, but if a man is crying or being emotionally dependent, he's weak. He's unstable. He needs to gain confidence, right? So yes, that is what happens when society looks at you and you're weak, or you're being emotional. But I want to tell you guys, even to you mentally, that is not good for you. Okay, it is not. It's I know. It's I know that some MGTOW, like I know TFM, he advocates for being emotionally dependent with like your homies, your best friend, and because as we're humans, there will be moments we will need to be emotionally dependent, right? We'll have some fucked up moments in our lives. We'll go under depression, and we want to talk to somebody about it. We are a social species. So, and what TFM says, I agree, because there's nobody else. There's nobody else you can be emotionally dependent to. You know, it's if you have a best friend that you can trust, that you really trust, a guy, it's okay. It's I don't want to say if it's okay, but it's your best option to share your emotions with, and and there are moments where you're going to need to be emotionally vulnerable, and it is a lot better to do that with your best friend than a woman, whatever she is, whether it's your girlfriend, your boss, your wife, whatever. It's horrible, guys. I wish there was a pill that will solve all this shit and you can get over depression just like that, but there isn't. It's I even took a psychology course all about mental issues and depression, and there are no pills. There are pills that will temporarily alleviate some of your pain, but nothing helps. So, it's a lot of it is therapy. You have to go through therapy and some shit, but the best way to counteract it is to just avoid it to begin with. Okay, so when you have a boss, or even somebody a woman that you consider a friend, whoever women that are in your life, no matter how kind and nice and sweet they are to you guys, be kind and sweet to them from a distance. Okay, do not emotionally attach yourself to that woman, because it will backfire. And like I'm so pissed off because I had to learn all this shit the hard way. Nobody had. I didn't learn this from videos. I didn't learn. Now watching MGTOW videos helped a little bit, but I had to learn. I had to go through all this bullshit. So I'm trying to spare you guys. Okay. All right, guys. Thanks very much for listening to me. Appreciate it. Black Clover again. Have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye bye.